I was born in France, and the reason I came to this country is because a person you're maybe familiar with, Father Salpointe, asked me to come over here and do some stonework on the church that was here in Tucson. And basically, there was one church, a Catholic church. It's about a block west of the Fox Theater. It's not there any longer. And so this is what it looked like after I got done. I arrived in Tucson in 1880, about 33 years old, and the towers are not my work. The towers were put on. This whole building here was done beforehand. What I ended up doing was the stonework right here, the rosette window and the archway going into the church. Now, does that look familiar to anyone? Because that still exists, but not there. What happens is 10 years later, the congregation moves. They move a half mile south, east, and that's where the cathedral is today. And that's where in 1896 that opened up. And this was a little seedy in this area. Population was getting bigger, it was too small. So this was not a church anymore. And over the next 30, 40 years, it became a hotel, a restaurant, some say a brothel, a taxi stand, service station, bright yellow service station. And in 1936, they decided they're just going to knock the whole thing down. George Chambers, who was interested in history, said, whoa, before we knock this down, I've promised the Historical Society this rosette window. And it was interesting, the very first group that came through here today, George Chambers' son was in that group. No, not son, grandson, pardon, grandson was in that group. So he said, I told you the right story. I'm telling you the right story. So what happened is, they saved this for the Historical Society, and then George said, what about the rest of this stuff? And they said, well, we're just going to knock it over, take it to the Santa Cruz River, and dump it in there. And he said, don't do that. Pay you $75, mark those bricks, number them, and then cut them off, at the masonry joints, and then resurrect them in my backyard.